I'm Erica. Standing in the middle of my family's holiday gala, I still vividly remember the look on my cousin Victor's face when he realized I'd bought his company. It was a moment of pure shock, a complete shattering of his inflated ego. It all started at the annual Thompson family holiday gala at my aunt's grand estate in Miami. The place was filled with the rich scent of champagne and the soft glow of crystal chandeliers. Victor, as always, was the center of attention near the grand piano. He was boasting about his upcoming merger between Novatech and Zenith Digital, claiming he'd soon be in charge of the entire Southern Division. My family, especially my aunt, was eating up his every word. She looked at him with the same pride she had when he won those business competitions in college. My uncle, Robert, with a fake smile, turned to me and asked, "Still running that little consulting thing, Erica?" I just nodded politely, knowing that in my inbox at home was the contract for Peregrine Global, my firm, to acquire a controlling stake in Zenith Digital by the end of the week. Victor, not even bothering to look at me, scoffed, "Still with that tiny operation? How many people do you have now? 3? 4? I simply replied, 6, not bothering to go into details. I let him think Peregrine Global was just a small-time agency for local businesses. Then he had the audacity to offer me a job at Zenith, saying, "Erica, I could talk to our VP. Get you a real position. You're in your 30s now. Stability is key." My mother forced a smile and said, "That's very kind, Victor." I tightened my grip on my glass, thinking about the power I was about to wield. Suddenly, Victor announced that Zenith CEO, Mr. James Lee, was coming. The room gasped in excitement. Moments later, the door opened, and there he was, flanked by his assistants. But instead of going to Victor, he walked straight up to me. "Miss Thompson," he said warmly, "it's good to see you again. Are we still on for tomorrow morning?" The room fell silent. Victor's smug smile disappeared. I replied, "Absolutely. I'm looking forward to finalizing everything." Victor stammered, "Mr. Lee? You know my cousin?" Mr. Lee looked puzzled. "Of course I do. Erica is the one who acquired Zenith Digital. She's the reason I'm here tonight." The silence in the room was deafening. Victor's glass slipped from his hand and landed on the carpet. My aunt gasped, and my uncle looked like he'd been struck by lightning. I calmly placed my glass on the mantel and said, "Actually, cousin, Peregrine Global is a global acquisitions and restructuring firm. As of yesterday, we own Zenith." Victor looked like he was about to be sick. I told him we'd be discussing his role in the company. He was in complete disbelief. I led him to his office. Once inside, he demanded, "How long have you been planning this? Is this some kind of revenge?" I sat in his leather chair and said, "Peregrine has been analyzing Zenith for years. You're working, there was just a coincidence." He laughed bitterly. "You expect me to believe that? You've always been jealous of my success." I wordlessly opened my banking app on my phone and showed him my liquid net worth. His eyes widened in shock. I asked him, "What does success look like to you, Victor?" He slumped into the chair, defeated. I reminded him of all the times they'd underestimated me, like when I missed Uncle Robert's birthday because I was in Tokyo finalizing a major acquisition and they thought I was too poor to come home. I then pulled out a folder with his performance reviews. I told him about the red flags, the shortcuts, and the missed deadlines. He argued that it was standard practice, but I firmly said, "It's sloppy and arrogant. Under Peregrine's leadership, it ends now." I offered him a choice, a lateral transfer to our Chicago branch with the same pay and a fresh start, or resign with a 3-month severance package. He was furious, calling it cruel. But I reminded him of all the cruel things he'd said and done to me over the years. When I returned to the party, my parents were there. My mother tried to hug me and said, "We had no idea you were so successful. Why didn't you tell us?" I asked her if it would have made a difference if my success wasn't flashy. She quickly said it would, but I knew deep down they only cared when it was something they could brag about. Victor emerged from the office, dazed and headed to the bar. A crowd of relatives surrounded him, but he was silent for once. I gathered my things to leave. My father asked me to stay and tell them more about my firm, but I said I had a 6 a.m. flight to Paris for a potential acquisition. My mother cried, saying it was Christmas, but I told her that for the first time, they understood why I was so often absent. It was because I was building something extraordinary. As I drove away, my phone buzzed with messages from relatives I hadn't heard from in ages, offering congratulations. I deleted them all. 3 months later, Victor accepted the Chicago position. My parents now introduce me as their brilliant entrepreneur daughter, conveniently forgetting all the times they doubted me. And I just finalized another acquisition, a tech startup in Austin. Sometimes, silence truly speaks louder than words, especially when it comes with the power to prove everyone wrong.